Okay. All right, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Saturday edition of Morning Scone, presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Restored Motions, RestoredMotions.com. If you have pain, book a session with Crystal Poche. And ProCharge EV, ProChargeEV.com. Get that electric vehicle charger installed at your home, office, place of business. Somebody just honked. Not sure who that was who just honked. Might not have even been at me. Might have just been coincidental. Wasn't Lenny. Okay. Good morning, y'all. LSU basketball today at Alabama. Not super optimistic about this one today. Maybe the Tigers can go put it together, play a great game, and steal a road win. But you're on the road against a top 5 team that been a little bit of a wrecking ball this year. And they're 8-0 at home. Tigers are a 15.5-point underdog in this game today. So, not thinking this one's going to go our way for the good guys. Pels did get a shorthanded win last night in Detroit. I know we've talked about this road swing, right? 5 road games in a row, and then 7 out of 8 on the road. So, get the ones you can get. Look, winning at Boston shorthanded was always going to be a tall task, but you go to Detroit, that's one you should get, and they did last night. So good on the Pels for getting a road win last night. And you probably saw as well, Walker Howard visited Ole Miss, or is visiting Ole Miss. And I'm telling you, I know a lot of people, I saw a lot of this, man, people just assuming, oh, he's going to TCU. And he may. I want to be clear about that. Like, that may end up being where Walker Howard ends up going. But don't discount Ole Miss, man. They got him on campus first, and Jackson Dart was there a year ago, transferred in from USC. He competed with Luke Altmaier. Altmaier transferred out to Illinois, and so they do have an opportunity for Walker to go there and compete. So keep an eye on Ole Miss, man. Keep an eye on Ole Miss there. So, and that'd be disappointing, obviously, if he ends up in not only the conference but in the division. But don't rule out Ole Miss. Don't certainly TCU. We talked about possibility of Florida maybe being in there as well. And then NFL playoffs today, y'all. Excited about this this day of games. Niners, Seahawks. Listening to Jimmy and all the handicappers. A lot of people on the Niners laying the points. It's a big number, but just don't think Seattle's gonna be able to score. So a lot of people on the Niners. And then tonight you got Chargers and Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence was making his first playoff start as a quarterback, and typically first time a quarterback starting in the playoffs the first time don't fare well, but the home teams, Niners, Jaguars, certainly where I'm leaning today in these games. So. And then one interesting thing to keep an eye on is what happens if the Chargers do lose. Do they blow out Brandon Staley? And if they do, then that becomes a very obvious landing spot for Sean Payton. He was living in L.A. He'd like to stay in L.A. Sean McVay is going to go back to the Rams. Justin Herbert there with the Chargers. Boy, that would be almost too perfect a fit if it played out that way. So. All right, let's say some good mornings, answer your questions. You know the drill. YouTube, please smash that like button, subscribe up to the YouTube channel. Facebook, please like the page, share the post. Patrick McKenzie, good morning, Matt. Do you think LSU will get any more players from the portal? If so, what position? Yeah, Patrick, I don't think they're done. I certainly think they need to address linebacker. I think that's probably the most obvious one. And I wouldn't discount offensive line and running back. I think those would be the spots that you would be looking at most obviously for some potential help there. Y'all would be very honest. I ate a little Jenny Craig muffin, and I feel like that thing's about to come back up. Okay. I think we're settled. Okay. I think we're settled. Okay. Quinn Breakbill, Craig Duga, that was weird. I can't tell you the last time I thrown up, but it felt like that thing was coming up. Hey, Dad, good morning. Aaron Hornsby, Craig Duga, women's basketball school now. Multimedia, running wild, brother. Poor Craig. Poor Craig. So excited for so long with the Will Wade era. LSU being a basketball school boss. And it's just not the case right now. But McMahon will get him there, man. I'm telling you. Give him time. Give him time to recruit. This year's going to be tough. But give him time. Aaron Hornsby, Chris Keller, Ben Talbot, good morning. Thank you so much, Ben. Said love the show. Kirk Taylor, what's going on? Glenn Laurie, good morning. Picks for the playoffs this weekend. Yes, we just went through today. Do it on camera. Ryan Amanda Guidry, good morning. You know, talking about going viral, yeah. Hurl on camera. So I like San Francisco today. I'll lay the points. I like Jacksonville tonight. I like Buffalo at home. I like the Giants to win at Minnesota. I do like Cincinnati at home. Although I like Baltimore with the points. And I think Tampa is going to beat Dallas. I do. Tom Brady at home in the playoffs. I'll take it. Donald Amy, good morning. Be kind, good morning. Russell Doloff, good morning. The official college football chatter, good morning. Mac, Larry Garner, Duval, good morning. Going retro with the Hornets. I have one of those yet. New Orleans Hornets. You know what's funny? Erica, I think I've told you all this before, but when I can tell you when I got this. When Erica and I started dating, so we started dating in August of 2009. And our first Valentine's together, which would have been February of 2010, her gift to me was she got us tickets to go see the Hornets. So we went and saw the Hornets play the Magic at the Smoothie King Center, which was not called the Smoothie King Center at the time, of course, it was just New Orleans Arena. And she gave me this shirt. So it was like the box had this shirt and the tickets. So I've had this shirt since February of 2010. So I've had this shirt for almost 13 years. Pretty good shape for a 13-year-old shirt. Cliff Nelson, good morning. Merrick Mathern, Bubba Tatum. Happy Saturday. Freezing my tail off on the beach in St. Pete. Why would you be at the beach when it's... Well, what's the temps like in St. Pete right now? So it's in the 30s here this morning. Joey Metke, good morning. Be Kind said, thank you for your honesty in AFR. I appreciate you. Sure. Thanks for watching or listening every day. I appreciate y'all. Jesse Brown, thank you for smashing the like button. Let's see. Brad David, since you got married on January 13th, how close was it to the national championship that year? What if LSU would have made it that year? Brad, they did. I know I've told this story before. I mean, we intentionally scheduled the wedding for after football season. I mean, that was done intentionally when we were looking at dates. So the national championship game was the BCS era, was on a Monday, and LSU played Alabama, and the game did not go well. And we got married the following Friday. So LSU played Alabama on Monday, lost 21-0, and we got married that Friday. And then the very next day, so we went to St. Lucia on our honeymoon, but we did not leave on Saturday. We waited till Sunday to leave because we didn't want to do the thing where you have the wedding reception on a Friday night, then you're at the airport, at 5 a.m. on Saturday. So we're like, let's take a day to just sort of rest, relax, pack, all that stuff, and then leave on Sunday, which we did. Well, that rest, relax day was Saturday of the divisional round of the playoffs. And because the Saints had beaten the Detroit Lions in the wild card round. And so that Saturday was the divisional round. And the Saints played the 49ers in a game where Alex Smith and Vernon Davis ended the season for the greatest team in Saints history in dramatic fashion. So, in a matter of 5 days, I watched LSU get blown out in the national championship game and the greatest Saints team ever lose dramatically in the divisional round, with my wedding mixed between the two of them. After the Saints lost, Erica's started crying. She's like, "This is gonna ruin our honeymoon." I said, "Hey, just give me 10 minutes. Give me 10 minutes." And I went and sat in a room, just by myself for about 10 minutes. And I was like, you know what, whatever. Get me to another country. Get me far away from this. So it was actually very beneficial that I got to leave and didn't have to talk about all the stuff that transpired. Guy Brooks, good morning. Apollo Balboa, how bad does Bama beat the Tigers today? Badly. Coleman Coliseum has always been a house of horrors for LSU. And Alabama's really good. They're good in every phase. I mean, they're a Final Four contender, a legit Final Four contender. Trivia Carter, good morning. Cliff Nelson, sorry if I missed this. Did Brian Kelly break a promise to Walker Howard? No. Why would he go within the SEC and or within the division? No, Cliff, I'm going to be very, very clear. I don't know if anybody has said that about breaking a promise or yada yada. No, that's not the case. Walker knew he would sit for a year, and nothing is ever promised or given. So I think, in his mind, it was sit for a year and then in year 2 have a chance to compete for it. And it wasn't even necessarily that he wanted to be handed the job. But I'll keep repeating this because this is the truth. Walker didn't need to be handed the job, but he wanted an opportunity to compete for it. And if you're, at least if you're running second string, you're getting some first team reps and you're working on a game plan and install. If you're the third team guy, you're running scout team. So, Walker, if you're just throwing to walk-ons and just giving the defense a look, are you really improving? And I think that's the problem that he had. So, then if you look ahead, you can say, well, okay, come back. And then after this year, if Nuss becomes the starter, which is plausible, then you sit for a third year, and then maybe you get on the field in your fourth year. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of what ifs. So eventually you make a decision, and he decided to pull the trigger now. So, but no, there was no promises broken or anything like that. Strong Side, good morning. How you like the Reebok pumps? Love them, man. There's actually a Jordan 1 drop this morning of the true blue and grays. It was at 24 minutes ago, and I almost pulled the trigger, but I was like, I think my first pair of Jordan 1 highs are going to be the red and black. So the Bulls, Jordan 1s. Got away from the pop somewhere, but that's going to be him. Aaron Hornsby, 49ers, Bengals, Super Bowl. Um, look, the Niners defense could certainly get them there. Of course, they traded for Christian McCaffrey, but it's hard for me, Aaron, to think that you're not going to have an issue with Brock Purdy somewhere along the way, man. To ask a rookie quarterback to get you there, I still think Philly, especially having the week off to get Hurts healthier and home field, I still Philly. I think is the team that's going to represent the NFC. Donald A. Me looks like some nasty weather for some playoff games. Louis Malhoyd, good morning, Matt. If Saints fire their offensive coordinator, do you have two names they might pursue? I'm afraid nothing changes. Louis. So flatly, the answer is like no. I mean, because I can't tell you that I know any names that they would pursue. Like I can't tell I have any inside info as to who they would pursue. I mean, I don't know that they're at that point where that's what they're doing. I think typically the way that happens is if they fire Pete Carmichael, then you would start to hear the names leak. Let's see. YouTube 128 watching. Smash that like button. Thank you so much. Facebook, please like the page, share the post. If Dallas loses to Jones, fire McCarthy. I promise I won't ask about Michael Thomas. Samuel, I don't know if Dallas loses if they fire McCarthy. Dallas was interesting this year because it was. Dak Prescott's turnovers this year were a huge problem. But I also think it was a year where it was the cornerstone that Dallas built that offense around was their offensive line, and they were not good this year. So I think Dak was hit and pressured more, and even in playing fewer games, I think he still had a career high in interceptions. Make sure I'm not wrong on that one. He had 15 picks this year. Let me see. Because I think it was a career high. Hang on. Yeah, career high. The most he'd ever thrown prior was 13 back in 2017. That was in 16 games. So he played 12 games this year through 15 picks. QBR was a career low. No, I'm sorry. His low QBR was 2018. But this was his second lowest QBR. So maybe. But I think, I don't know that Dak is the problem. I think their inability to protect Dak is the problem. David Tolson, good morning. Mark Vitanovich, good morning. Dad, who won the big fight? So yesterday was the celebrity fight with Casey McKenzie and Ryan Moranto. Excuse me. I think because I was looking last night. The only thing I saw was an Instagram post from Todd McClure, and I think it went 3 rounds and Casey won. I don't think there was a knockout or anything like that. I haven't seen anything else on social media about it, but that's odd that I haven't been able to find anything else on it. But that ain't what I want. But I think Casey won. Guy Brooks, can I get the Hudco jingle with my morning coffee? Sure, Guy. I'm not your buddy, Guy. I'm not your guy, friend. He's not your friend, buddy. I'm not your buddy, Guy. Here you go. Here you go.
When you need a roof, call someone you know.
HutcoRoofing.com. Love to give you that free no obligation roofing inspection, commercial or residential. We would love to be at any commercial job you may have. So keep us in mind, let a friend know. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Eric Wilder, morning scone, making me feel underdressed watching AFR yesterday. Yes, I wore so Erica for Christmas got me a puffer vest, like a hunter green puffer vest with it had a hood on it as well. So I wore that yesterday with like a button-up polo underneath and jeans and my Nike Blazer SBs. I definitely had a Marty McFly vibe going yesterday. If the vest were red, you probably would have thought that I was pulling a McFly, impersonation. D. Rob Boudreaux. What's the muffin? Good. Merrick Mathern, Wendell Norman, Dalton Bennett, Troy Plummer. Good morning. If the Bucs beat the Cowboys, would that be the landing stop for Sean Payton? Man, look, and Sean Payton is Payton. Sorry, Troy, I can't help myself. I don't know. I mean, Sean Payton was the coach here for 16 years, and people misspell his name all the time. I don't get it. But anyway, Troy, that's very much a me problem. I get it. It's one of those things where I just can't help myself. Everyone has always said Sean Payton, Dallas, inevitable, all that sort of stuff. I don't know that I necessarily agree. I don't know that Sean wants to go work for Jerry. And it sure sounds like he wants to stay in LA. So, and I know, he has a house in Dallas, or had a house in Dallas. I don't know if he still does. I would assume he still has that home. So there's a lot of reasons why I get people. Look, he coached there before as an assistant. I mean, we get it. I mean, understand there's a lot of reasons why people point out Dallas all the time. But I also think that there are some pretty obvious reasons why that's not a fit. So I'm not as definitive on Sean Payton wants to be the Dallas head coach as a lot of people might be. It feels like we see that sometimes in sports where, like, people assume Dabo was going to, I've always assumed, Dabo is going to replace Nick Saban and go back to Alabama, when Nick's done. Maybe, but I don't know that necessarily is what Dabo wants to do. I mean, he's building his own program at Clemson. You know what I mean? It feels like that kind of thing where there's this public opinion that almost seems that it's just sort of an accepted truth that I don't know if it's actually reality. All right, Bubba, temps in St. Pete, mid-40s with 15-mile-an-hour winds. Yeah, that's no good. Out here for a kite festival for my daughter's Girl Scout troop. Got it. Okay. Well, that's understandable. FK, watching old Karen Crow games. The Kevin Falk was something. Hey, make sure you watch Kevin Falk's last Karen Crow game, which was a playoff loss to Cali High. I was there, 1994. Joey Metke, Matt, I don't know if you talked about it, but my wife said she saw in the news LSU gymnastics is beefing up security. Did something wrong happen to the team? Last week they competed, in Salt Lake City against Utah. And there were some fans, young male fans in the stands that were just very rowdy. They had cutouts of Olivia Dunn and they were chanting like, "We want Livy" the whole time. And security ended up having to stop them. And then there was a massive line of people lining the exit near LSU's bus, waiting for Olivia Dunn. So essentially, they were sort of unprepared, right, for the type of mania that followed Livy. So LSU is going to have a security detail on their bus on the road now, and they are going to beef up security at home venues. And you have to do it. I mean, we saw something similar with Joe Burrow in 2019. As their popularity, as the season went along and Joe's popularity was growing, he used to have security escort him out of the stadium. It's part of it. It's better to be safe than sorry type thing. And when you're talking about a young female, you got to take those precautions. Brambo, Mulkey, and Johnson are going to set the tone for Brian Kelly's 2023 Natty run. The track team is going to have to step up their game. Could be a cool 4 Natties in 2023 for LSU. Yep. Oh man. So Brambo, I'll tell you this, man. Yes, slow your roll a little bit there, bro. Like, that's all. I think all those teams are going to be very good. Assuming they all win the national championship, not so much. I think Kim Mulkey's squad, she's got a great squad, and they very well could be a Final Four team. I don't know if they're ready to beat South Carolina. We'll see. Jay Johnson absolutely has the most talented team in the country, but Tennessee had the most talented team in the country a year ago, and they didn't even make it to Omaha. So let's see. I don't know that I'm telling you that LSU is going to be competing for the national championship in football in the fall. I think it's certainly possible, but you will have to have a more consistent effort defensively, which I think you could have because you've certainly supplemented that position through the portal and development, and Matt House is a great coordinator. And then offensively, you're going to have one of those seasons where Jaden Daniels accounts for 4,000 yards, throws for 3,500, runs for another 500. You get better production out of your offensive line. It could happen, but it might feel like a year early. For example, the 2011 LSU squad. Like, the thing that I always remember saying about that is, we all remember how dominant 2011 LSU was, but what people forget is that squad was basically a whole bunch of sophomores. Like, Tyron was a sophomore, Eric Reed was a sophomore, Mo Claiborne was a sophomore, Mingo, Montgomery, Minter, Benny Logan, Chris Falk, Spencer Ware, Alfred Blue, Michael Ford, Brockers. I mean, all those guys were sophomores. Now, Brockers was a redshirt sophomore. He's a third-year sophomore. But anyway, my point is that team was actually a year early. The 2012 team was the one, because everyone looked at 2011, how dominant they were. Like, man, every one of these guys coming back. They're going to win it again. And obviously, we know what happened. But if LSU does get in the mix for the Natty this year, I think it would feel a lot like 2011, where you're probably a year early. Because I would think 2024, when Kelly's first class, when Harold Perkins and Emory Jones and Will Campbell and all those guys, when those guys are juniors, and you've got 3 years of classes, that's the team I would tell you I think would be the one that should probably be very realistically in that discussion. If it happens this year for football, it would feel like it's a year early, but put it past them. Let's see, Philip Thomas, morning, Matt. What's up with Muso's AFR intro music? I probably spelled his name incorrectly. Nope, you nailed it. I feel bad too that y'all are like all so on pins and needles about spelling things and misspelling things. People are always like, Matt, don't crush me if I misspell this. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to crush you. It's me. It's me. It's not you. It's me. Like, I'm the one that can't overlook that stuff. I don't know why. You're talking about the Barbie Girl song. So if you're not familiar, AFR every day when we do the hour intros, I say I'm Matt, Paul O'Neill, and Muso, and we accompany each intro with a drop or something. Muso's is Barbie Girl by Aqua, and it's because I told him, I was like, hey man, so it can be whatever you want, just pick it, I don't care. Just like whatever you want your drop to be. And he goes, nah, I don't care. I was like, okay, fine, Barbie Girl by Aqua. See how you like that. He's like, no, well, I was like, no, that's it. So it's been that, and it sticks. But that is kind of a lesson. I told him, I was like, bro, listen, own it, because look at Philip here. I get asked about it all the time. And one of the things that's very difficult to do in radio or media in general is take something that is typically monotonous, or take the mundane and make it memorable. And so those drops don't have to be anything memorable. They should be simple, one-off drops. But when you do something like that and it becomes memorable, people ask about it. It's a hard thing to do. So he's taken to it. Von Blueston, Matt, your thoughts on Lane Kiffin hired Pete Golding? Yes, if y'all missed that, Pete Golding, Alabama defensive coordinator. Lane Kiffin hired him. So I did ask about this. So Pete Golding, for those who don't know, is from Hammond. and his family still lives there. But he met his wife at Delta State, and her family lives just outside of Oxford. So he's leaving Alabama for two reasons. That's one, is they'll be closer to her family. That's one. Two, the 18 to 20 hour days working for Nick Saban ultimately wear people down. Like, it's why you don't see assistants stay with Nick Saban for 15 years. He's just a really hard guy to work for because of the hours he puts in, the way he grinds on his staff. So that's why guys leave. And so Pete Golding's been there since 2018. That's 5 years, man. 5 years with Nick. I'll never forget this. I had this conversation with Pete Jenkins. He said, Coach Pete was at LSU, when Nick was here, in the early 2000s, and then Coach Pete retired from coaching, and ultimately got back in the NFL with the Philadelphia Eagles and went back to college. You all know the story, but Coach Pete said, I was eating every meal out of a styrofoam container because they were in the office doing 18-hour days, and every meal they just had delivered up to football ops. And he's like, I was eating every meal. Well, I guess football ops wasn't built yet, but he's like, I was eating every meal out of a styrofoam container in my office, and I felt like I was going to drop dead. And he's like, and I didn't want to just drop dead. So that's why I retired. So that's why Pete Golding's leaving Alabama. Ryan Pike, FSU to win the ACC. I think that's as good a pick as any, Ryan. I mean, I've been saying it for months, and some of y'all know who you are. You laughed at me. I said, look, LSU, Florida State's going to be a preseason top 10 matchup. And Florida State is in everybody's preseason way too early top 10. Kyron Sonier, dope shirt. I've been looking to find old New Orleans Hornets retro gear. Did you buy that recently from somewhere you had it? No, I've had this shirt for 13 years, man. If at the beginning of the show, my first ever Valentine's Day, when Eric and I were dating, her gift to me for Valentine's is she bought us Hornets tickets, and she gave me this shirt. So the box had like this shirt and the tickets in it. So that was Valentine's Day 2010. So I've had this shirt for 13 years. Carter, DeLon, Walker, and Kiffin system would be interesting. I think that's the appeal. I don't think that's the appeal. That is the appeal for Walker with Ole Miss is Lane. Because I was asked, why is he visiting Ole Miss? And the one word response I got was Lane. Cliff, if anyone has Dallas questions, ask Matt to conference me in. I can answer them. That's our resident Cowboys, Celtics, Yankees fan there, and New York Rangers. Trivia, I'm formally stating right now, until the Saints have a new head coach, I will not acknowledge any wins or losses. Or losses? So you're just not talking about them at all, Triv? Okay. Brambo, I believe Florida State and LSU will meet twice in 2023. My way too early playoff prediction. Number 1, LSU. Number 2, Georgia. Number 3, Florida State. Number 4, we have Oregon or USC. You got to pick, bro. Can't pick 2. Brandon Reese thinks Sean Payton wants the Chargers job. If it comes open, I think that would probably fall to the top of his list. Robert Cooley, give yourself a pair of Hey Dudes. They'll change your life. A lot of people talk about Hey Dudes. Austin Kidder, good morning. What needs to be addressed in the portal? Yeah, so again, veteran offensive line. I think they'd like, a few more bodies there. Linebacker, especially after you lost to Mario Tolan. And if there is a running back, I think that's most definitely a possibility too. Richard Horner, after yesterday's press conference, I have little faith that much is going to change. We may get Ronald Curry, but I don't think we'll get any offensive help. So about Mickey Loomis's press conference. Richard, I tend to agree with you, but I'll tell you, Mickey Loomis also, when he meets with the media, very seldom do we ever see or hear Mickey Loomis give anything of substance in his press conferences. Because you're asking a GM to tip his hand as far as off-season strategy. So you're just not really going to see that. So I don't know that Mickey Loomis, in not giving us any information in the press conference, is any type of definitive, um, answer about anybody returning. But I'll agree with you from the sense that it sure didn't sound like he was itching to move on for anything. But then again, he also didn't give the great vote of confidence to Pete Carmichael or anybody else, right? Like, the telltale is they asked him about Michael Thomas, right? So they asked about Michael Thomas's contract, and he's like, "Oh no, I just bought his time," and which is it's a bald-faced lie. I mean, Michael Thomas is not going to be back in New Orleans. There's with the way that the contract has been restructured, there's no way he's back. So now he didn't want to announce that, and that's fine, but that's the reality. They're going to cut Michael Thomas. So let's see, Mark, where do you have LSU baseball in your preseason rankings? They're number one in the country. They'll be number one in everybody's preseason rankings. Walker Howard at TCU. I think TCU is certainly in the mix. But don't be surprised if Ole Miss nudges ahead, man. A lot of the scuttle around there, there's a reason he went there, and there's a reason they got the first visit, and that matters. So just keep an eye on Ole Miss, man. Blake Betts, good morning, Matt. With the Saints cap situation, it seemed like Winston isn't a horrible option. I'm not saying he's great, but at least he's young and has the upside factor. We know what we have with Dalton. Blake, I agree with you, but it certainly seems like that ship has sailed. Blake, they would have to pay him over $12 million in cash value, and it's just very clear this coaching staff does not see the value in Jameis. So if he's not going to be the guy, then you got to move on. Jeremy Sagely, good morning. John Wagoner, good morning. How does LSU handle special teams in the offseason? The good news is you get all of your specialists back. Jay Bramlett's back. Dybert's back handling kickoffs. Damian Ramos is back handling field goals, PATs. Slade Roy's back as your long snapper. And you bring in Aaron Anderson, who likely becomes your returner. But as far as functioning within the special teams units, boy, they got a lot of work to do, for sure. Matthew Garner, Pete Golding, Ole Miss talked about that. Jordan Grace, only time I could cheer for the Bucs to beat the Cowboys. Mark, good morning. Let's see. Mark said they should have thrown money at Tanner Hall. LSU baseball. Yeah, I mean, look, we all saw Tanner Hall last year. But I think LSU did just fine, bro. Schmoke, what's going on? Mark asked, what's your go-to king cake in the Baton Rouge area? Rouse's, bro. Always Rouse's. The official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouses.com. Rouse's. This feels like home. Brand Roban received my box of community coffee king cake flavored cake cups. Okay. I've not tried it, Brand, but I'm not opposed. And I am not, contrary to popular belief, some people think that I would be like a total coffee snob because I'm a whiskey snob. But no, it's just the things that I'm bullish about. I'm particular, but they're not that many things, really. Like, I don't want a cheap steak, and I don't want bad whiskey. That's kind of it. I love shoes now, too. Rachel Goff, you missed a great fight last night. Ryan lost by 1 point. Absolutely wild. It was that close, huh? So Casey won 2 rounds and Ryan won 1 round? I knew nobody was knocking nobody out. 16-ounce gloves, wearing headgear. None of them are fighters. I knew no one. Man, dude. I knew nobody knocking anybody out in that fight. I'm just surprised it went the distance because I figured they'd be gassed and somebody would just like not get up, When they stayed on their feet for 6 minutes, okay. Let's see, John, not sure if you missed honest opinion of Emory from recruiting rating to success on the field, as has been advertised. I guess you mean John Emery. That's Emery, but John, I'm probably not going to give you the answer you want because I don't care about recruiting rankings and what the services say. It's not to say that they don't, because you can look very definitively and say, okay, if you look at the teams that have the top 5 classes consistently, those are the teams that win. So I'm not saying that it's completely irrelevant, but the flip side of it is, you've all heard Justin Jefferson was a 2-star, right? Well, Justin Jefferson was a 2-star and Russell Shepard was a 5-star. They had dramatically different careers. So you don't hit on all of them, but mostly I would tell you the kid doesn't ask for the ranking. John Emery didn't ask to be labeled 5-star, number 1 back, all this stuff. And who knows what his career would have been but for COVID in 2020 and then being forced to sit out, suspended for the entire 2021 season. So, he was here as a freshman in 2019 and, was behind Clyde, who was all conference and, some All-America honors. And then after that, his career just kind of got derailed because of COVID and missing all of last year. What if Emery does play last year? Maybe he's the 1,000-yard rusher that Ty Davis Price was. Anyway, I understand the question, John, and I get why people are interested because we hype up. That's why I get asked all the time about Cardell Thomas, because he was such a highly graded offensive lineman. But if you go back and watch, man, we talked about that. Cardell was a guy who played 1A football and he was 350 pounds and he pushed around a lot of young, small dudes in 1A football. And when he went to the elite camps, you saw his star rating drop to 4 and his player rating drop because when he got to the elite camps, he was top heavy. He didn't bend and move as much and, didn't have as much success against the elite of the elite. But if you're LSU, you got to recruit that kid from Baton Rouge. But the weird part about it is that was a year where Osiris Torrance was coming out of St. Helena. And he played small school football. And he actually went, they played against, St. Helena played Kentwood, or Amite, excuse me, and he went against Ish Sopsher, who was the 5-star defensive tackle, and Osiris Torrance dominated him. And there were a lot of people around LSU that wanted Ogeron and the staff to take Osiris Torrance, but he was like a 2-star. And so there are times where you got to take the higher rated local guy, even if you don't have a great, grade on him. Anyway, I know I'm rambling a little bit there, but I understand your question, man. But mostly, it just because then you have fans that label young guys busts based on nothing that they asked for, So a bunch of scouts saw some grainy high school film and threw a rating on a kid at 17 years old, and if a player doesn't live up to whatever expectations fans had for him, he's a bust. I'm just not down with that. Casey won 10-8. Hmm. 10-8. Won 10-9. They went 2 rounds. They went 3 rounds. With some of y'all throwing out scores, I need to know how they scored that fight. Then, if you're telling me if they went 3 rounds, right? Talking about Moranto and McKenzie. Anyway. Well, y'all posted 10-10, 10-9, and 10-8. It still don't make sense how you got the 10-9 or 10-8 with 3 rounds. Randall Alfrecht. Now, by the way, smash that like button if you would. As always, shout out to Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. Need an orthopedist, go see our friends at Brock. They're the best. HUDCO Roofing, HUDCOroofing.com. Would love to give you a free, no obligation roofing inspection. HUDCO is pinned there in the chat. By the way, ProCharge EV, electric vehicle charging stations available for your home, for your business. If you're a business owner, you can install one of these. They have tap to pay options as well. So you can end up turning that into a revenue generator for your business. You install a charger, people driving by, they pull into your business, they tap to pay to charge, and then they can also come to your store and shop while they charge. So think of it that way. But a week from Sunday, LSU baseball first pitch banquet. Only a few days left if you'd like to sit at the ProCharge table with Terrio, with me. The winner will get 2 seats, but you got to go to ProCharge on Instagram, at ProChargeEV, at ProChargeEV on Instagram. Also Facebook, Twitter. And you can see how you enter. Find the first pitch banquet post, which is pinned on their social media. And you can see the rules to how you can enter to win 2 seats at the first pitch banquet. They're like $100 a pop. It's food, it's open bar, it's entire LSU baseball team will be there, former players as well. They always have like a headline speaker. I think Bregman's supposed to be there this year. But anyway, we'll see y'all there. Morning, Matt. Do you think Brady can beat the girls Monday? I hate both, but the Cowboys, Cowgirls. Got it. I was like, Brady beat the girls. Oh yeah, I do. I actually do think Tampa will win on Monday. H-Town Creole, what's up? Trivia. Someone says it's not you, it's me. It's definitely you. Get your bleep together. Okay. Carly Cat. Where do the Saints go from here since they're sticking with Dennis Allen? The 3-game winning streak saved his job. I don't know if that's the case, Carl. If the 3-game winning streak saved his job, I think they were going to retain him either way. Joey Medke, Matt, talking about the intros for the show. When it's your turn for the intro and you have the little kid yelling, "You're a loser," my little girl thinks it's the funniest thing. That's the point, right? And by the way, that's Larry Holder's kid. Larry videoed his kids watching the intro to AFR one time, and they're like, "You're a loser, man. Take the L, man." And so I crapped at him, like, "Shut up, kid." That's Larry Holder's son. Let's see. H-Town Creole, good running back from Penn State, hit the portal and go back-to-back years. We'll see. Brandon Reese, which football position group are you looking forward to the most next year? Receiver. I think the LSU receivers are fun and awesome.
Yeah.
Hi. Oh, do you want to come say hi to Dad's show?
I know.
And then watch videos on Daddy's phone? Okay. Here we go. Look who's here. Who is it? Who is it? Hey. Who do you see?
Drew.
Oh, you do see Drew. Do you want to say hi to Dad's show?
Hi, Dad.
Well, that was very good. Did you sleep so good today?
Yes.
Yes? Good. Okay. We'll show him videos. That was a brief visit, but he performed his obligation to come say hi. Okay. Good. Hey, babe. You want to do Max Rock? No. Okay. All right. Let's see. Where are we? Kevin Winslow, morning. Super excited about LSU having an adult in the room. Players come, players go. Excited about the future of LSU quarterbacks. Sorry, not sorry. That's, I think, a very rational approach, Kevin. And that's a good way to put it. It always stinks when you lose a good player. Walker Howard's a really good player. You got plenty of good ones, as well. So, do you trust Brian Kelly to keep building the roster with good players, coaching them up? And the answer for many should be yes. D, the Gorillionaire. I'm from the future. Cardinals get Sean. We get the number 3 pick. We draft C.J. Stroud. Get ready to party with the Lombardi. Yeah, I don't think we're getting the number 3 pick. Brian Pinton, good morning. Carl the Cat, next celebrity fight, Matt versus Dwayne from Thibodeau. Bring it on. What was Price's stats for San Francisco? Oh. Ty Davis Price. He had a good start to the season, as I recall. He finished with 34 attempts for 99 yards. Shane Bigfellow, what's going on? Joey Metke, Matt, continuing with my little girl. She loves watching your show. She calls you the Tiger Man, but I don't know but I don't. Some of y'all got to learn punctuation. I mean, use a period, man. Help me out here. All right, hang on. She calls you the Tiger Man, but I don't know what that intro that she loses it and thinks it's the funniest thing ever. Are you talking about the "you're a loser, Matt" that thing? Yeah, that's Larry Holder's little boy, Joey, who's saying it. And you can actually go, Joey. I don't know if you're on Twitter, but if you're on Twitter, you can go find that video, like because Larry tweeted it. So if you go do a Twitter search and search like at Matt Moscona at Larry Holder, and then click videos, it should pop up. Like you can go see the video of Larry's kids jump, and his little boy's like, "Take the L, Matt." And he's like doing this, dancing around the room. I mean, this has been a few years. So I mean, Joey, they got to be, I don't know, man, 7, 8 years old. I mean, they're like just little kids, having fun. It's funny. Bama is getting their cheeks clapped today. Justin Clary, H-Town Creole, Damon Hinderberger. Will LSU have Cam Hayes and Mwani today? Good question, man. I don't know that their status has been updated. Look, Mwani hasn't really given them much this year, but I sure would like to have Cam Hayes. But I don't know. I haven't seen an update on their status, man. Yeah. I don't see an update, man. I don't see an update. I know when Matt McMahon met with the media, he didn't definitively state if he got. I mean, that might be one of those game time things. We'll see. Carter, what's going on? Did you see the Georgia linebackers in the portal? You think LSU should go after them? So, Carter, I don't know specifically if there's a player they're targeting. I did see that because we do around the SEC every day. I got a couple of them. There's, and they just had Tresman Marshall entered the portal. That's new. 6'1", 230. Was a 4-star. It's part of the rotation this year, but that's the kind of guy they need. Dealt with a shoulder injury. Class of 2019. Yeah, that's the kind of player they need to be targeting because they do need help at inside linebacker. They need numbers. Jordan Malazzo. Scone, you paying attention to the Rashada UF NIL dumpster fire? Sounds like Gator donors put Billy in a bad spot. Yeah. So Jaden Rashada is the 5-star quarterback who signed his letter of intent with Florida. Now reportedly wants out of it. His dad says that's not true, but they're going round and round on it. Apparently, it's what it was. He got promised some NIL money, and apparently it's not there. It's not been what was promised, and they're sorting all that out. Sorry. Hope LSU can keep it within 20 points today. Not looking good. Yeah. Brandon Reese, based on what Brian Kelly did in year one, which coach is under more pressure to do better next year, Napier or Fisher? Oh, it's Jimbo. I mean, Billy Napier is, you know, he inherited a not great situation. Jimbo's been there long enough to where the amount of money that they pumped into that program with facilities, his contract, NIL, for them to go 5-7 is completely unacceptable. So, injuries are not. So, absolutely, it's Jimbo. I mean, if they have another year like this, he's gone. Billy Napier's just getting started. They're going to give him time to build. Cole Case definitely cutting Michael Thomas. Nick said yesterday the Saints would owe Michael Thomas $60 million if he stayed on the roster. Who's Nick? You talking about Loomis? Mickey? Well, no, it wouldn't have been Loomis. But yeah, I mean, we've gone over the Michael Thomas contract. I'll go over it again, but the bigger part of the Michael Thomas deal is when they restructured him, he is owed a 2024 roster bonus of over $33 million if he's on the roster after this March 17th, I believe. So there is no way they're going to allow a $30+ million bonus for next year to become fully guaranteed after March of this year. So he will not be on the roster. They're going to cut him and designate him as a post June 1 release, which means the Saints will carry $11 million or so in dead cap money. Basically allows them to stretch out the dead cap money that they have. So he's going to be on the books for a few years, but it's lower cap hits than what it would be otherwise. So, like for example, his dead cap hit pre-June 1 would be $26 million. So basically, if they cut Michael Thomas today, he would count $26 million against the cap next year, not on the roster. If they designated a post-June 1 release, which they will, they'll save about $12 million, and it would basically be what requisite to what the cap hit would be. So it'd be around like $12 million or $14 million. They'd save about $12 million against cap. So it's a bummer, man, that it played out this way, but you can basically look and see what's going to happen. So then in 2024, his dead number would be $14 million, and then $6 million, and then $3 million. Then he's off the books for 2027. So he would, even though his contract would be over, they'd have I know this is confusing, but I'm looking at it right here. They have voidable years at the back. So the Saints are going to carry money for Michael Thomas through 2026, essentially. But he is not going to be on the team. So he's going to be he will be on the books for some dollar amount for the next 4 years. But he will not be on the team. All right. Don Joliblois Landry, good morning. Anybody else? Brandon Reese, besides going undefeated, I don't know what record A&M fans would be satisfied with at this point. I mean, they would have to be in contention. I mean, they'd have to get to like a double-digit win season. A 9-3 win your bowl game or go 10-2, that kind of season, which I don't think is doable. Jordan Malazzo, sounds like Billy promised money to a kid, didn't clear with his collective first. Maybe, but coaches can't talk dollar amounts with recruits, just to throw that out there. If A&M was actually to move on from Fisher after next season, maybe Cliff Kingsbury would be an interesting hire. Nah. All right, I think we might be just about done, y'all. Okay, we're going to get on out of here. Have a great Saturday. If you're watching there on YouTube, wow, we're over 127 watch and only 59 likes. Please take a quick second, smash the like button. Just hit the little thumbs up. If you're watching on mobile, X out of the live chat, hit the thumbs up, tap live chat, comments come right back. As always, brought to you by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. After Hours Clinic is open today as they are always on nights and weekends as an alternative to the ER. Hudco Roofing would love to give you a free, no obligation roofing inspection. So rain comes through, you start to notice water spots, or maybe shingles on the ground, or you go look at your downspouts and your gutters and you see little granules. That's deterioration from your shingles. It's wear and tear, and you could need a roof repair. So let us come do that inspection. HUDCOroofing.com, HUDCOroofing.com. And Restored Motions, you got pain, book a session with Crystal Poche, restoredmotions.com. And ProCharge EV, make sure you get to the ProCharge EV social media accounts and enter for your chance to win 2 seats at the ProCharge table for the LSU baseball first pitch banquet, sitting with Terrio and yours truly. Okay, y'all have an awesome day. Happy Saturday. Enjoy this beautiful weather, and we'll see you. Peace.